My name is Janek Schergen, and I'm the Artistic Director of Singapore Dance Theatre. Masterpiece in Motion is meant to be a balanced program of international choreography, and so therefore there was something from our existing repertoire, which was Stanton Welch's Menenius, which is a ballet that I find particularly wonderful. And in the company's history, they've distinguished themselves often doing it. And so it had been out of the repertoire for quite some years, and so it's one of the purposes of Masterpiece in Motion to carry forward our heritage, so I wanted to see that on stage one more time. Stanton made it originally for San Francisco Ballet. It was the very first work he had done outside of the Australian ballet, and it has an Australian composer, Ross Edwards, and it's a gorgeous work, and so I was glad to have it come back. And it had different artists than the last time we had done it, so it was time for a new personality to come out of the ballet, and I think they did it extraordinarily well, and I was glad to see it once again alive in our repertoire. Fearful Symmetries was something that was the first work that we had done by Niels Christie, and Niels Christie has a very long history as a choreographer. He was with the Netherlands Dance Theatre. He's one of the only dancers who worked through all three, actually four artistic directors, the original artistic director, Benjamin Harkavy, plus the succeeding directors, including Jere Killian. And so he has a wide breadth of knowledge within his experience as a dancer, and he has quite a distinguished repertoire of works that he's choreographed. And it was the first thing he did for us. Fearful Symmetries is one of those works that has been choreographed numerous times to greater or lesser effect. And he had a very interesting and unique take on it with it's hard to describe, but these colored benches, that he was inspired by a particular artist and a particular idea, and it's a very fast-moving pace done in scenes, and each different scene, the chairs are arranged, the stools are arranged in a different formation, and different colors are facing front. So it's a lot of stress for the dancers because they're not only dancing, they're also rearranging the set, and it worked better than I had even hoped it would work. So I was very glad to see it. And actually, it was the company premiere for that program. Edward Liang, he had previously done a smaller ballet for us for Dance Festival in 2010, and I wanted him to do a bigger work. So he did 10 couples. He chose 10 couples. And he had not a formula, but he had an overarching vision of how he wanted the work to progress, with 2 solo couples and then 1 couple that led the last movement as a solo couple. And he did the most extraordinary pas de deux work, which for a choreographer is the place where most choreographers feel at ease, because you're working with great dancers, and so therefore there's the most ability. And when you try to do things with very large groups, it's more challenging. And so for 20 dancers on stage, that was a lot of management and choreographic language, and I think it works wonderfully. And actually, the interesting thing with the Winds of Zephyrs, he had no idea what to name it. And so he kept struggling with names, and then he just looked at me and said, "You're really good with names, what do you think?" And so we went back and forth, and I had various thoughts, and looking at the choreography, I thought of the fact of the west wind with the zephyr, and so I suggested that. He went, "Oh, great, that's the name of the ballet."